Recording in progress. Okay, great. Hi, I'm Gina Diamond, and I am a student of astrology. And I have put together here a meditation for Sagittarius season. It was really for the new moon, the Sagittarius new moon. And it's just going to, walk us through the things that I've learned about Sagittarius and take us on a little meditation to access our higher consciousness and our higher self. So let me share the screen. All right. So this is the Tree of Knowledge, Sagittarius Higher Consciousness Meditation, presented by me, Gina Diamond, student of astrology. And what we're doing is the meditation here is designed to reflect upon the energetic signature of Sagittarius and to open ourselves up to embody the essence of our own inner Sagittarius. We are consciously going to work with the power of the stars to raise our awareness and to stimulate our senses, integrate the qualities and attributes of our personal Sagittarius in our charts, and then invoke the planetary spirits to create astrological talismans. These are ways that we can use the energy of the stars of Sagittarius. Sagittarius, the motto of Sagittarius is I aim and I aspire. Some of the unique energies and powers of Sagittarius, the archer, the centaur, the animal, and the divine. The sage, he receives flashes of sagacity and inspiration, unrestrained, quick changing nature, expansion, blessings, innovative wisdom, truth seeker, adventure, adaptable, easily adjustable to circumstances, world traveler, wanderlust, fantastic sense of humor, engaging, relishing in differences, love of higher learning, teaching, publishing, philosophy, exploration, easily connect with others from all strata of society. This is a fire sign that values action arising from innate wisdom and deep knowing. Mutable fire, it's like lightning, it's changeable fire in the sky. We think of the ruler of Sagittarius. But basically, this is a sign that hurtles between the seasons, the ending of autumn into the beginning of winter. And that's kind of the double body that you see there. It's a part human, part animal. And it's a matter of the divine and the animal coming over into a new season, carrying all of the other lessons and attributes learned from the two prior signs, which would have been Libra and Scorpio. So it's a hurtling between the end of autumn and the beginning of winter. This is the third quadrant around the cycle, around the wheel. And it is in that third and final phase of that third quadrant. So this just means that it is an infusion of the ideological influences of those signs prior to it, which would be the beauty and balance of the conscious mind from Libra, and then the subconscious mind from the eighth sign, which was Scorpio. So let's continue. So let's talk about the ruler of Sagittarius, which is Jupiter, the supreme great. He rules over thanksgiving and gratitude and right judgment. He is the biggest, most expansive planet in our solar system, and he gives off more energy than he actually receives. So everything that Jupiter touches expands. He's about right judgment, true speech, right belief, good perception and intelligence, the will of kings. He delights in riches and the accumulation of those riches, and delights in places of the faithful. Preachers of good words, those are his blessed children. Too much of a good thing is never enough. That's one of my sayings of one of my favorites. People who is a Jupiter-ruled child of Jupiter. Sagittarius is the ninth house. It's the ninth sign, and Jupiter and Sagittarius, they love the ninth house because they are rulers of the ninth house. The ninth house is the ninth house of God. You see here a picture of a nun. I recently learned about this nun through the Astrology Hub. Christopher Renstrom did a talk. He is the Sagittarius guide for this month, and I learned about this mystic nun, Hildegard von Bingen. And you could just see here, she's in the house of God. She's receiving a divine message. That's her superconscious mind, receiving what God has to say. And she's scribing it for the priest here to take what she is, divined from the Almighty, for him to share what it is that she has received from God. And that is a picture describing the house of God, or the ninth house. And really what I'm sort of focused on this month in my personal work, working with, the placement of Sagittarius on my chart and the ninth house. So the ninth house represents the superconscious mind. And the meditation that we'll do today is accessing the superconscious mind. We want to access our higher self when we're working with this energy. So the superconscious mind is an infinite field of information. It is able to acquire knowledge through non-physical and psychic mechanisms and pass that knowledge on to the conscious mind. It transcends ordinary consciousness. It is the seat of consciousness that is between the brow, right here, the Ajna chakra, the Christ center, the third and spiritual eye, your I am presence. The consciousness, the super consciousness state, is known as the higher self. It can be attained through deep states of meditation, or through deep states of hypnosis. And through being in this state, we can access past lives and future lives, and we can access our wise mind, and we can access all knowledge in all minds. In horary, the ninth house is said to bring about prophetic dreams, prophecies. It's about divining the will of the gods and telling the future. So we can see here in our mystic nun. If you find that your sun is in the ninth house, it is said to bring about prophetic visions or messages, or precognitive prophetic visions come to people who have that placement. It's about communication with universal forces. Ibn Israel, the author of one of the books that I'm reading but in study of the Professional Astrologers Association certification. He says that, and this is an old book in Ibra, and Ibn Israel is from ancient times, okay, or old times. But the woman who is leading the class, Mira Epstein, she actually helped translate this book. And I've taken this quote from out of that book. And this is talking about the ninth house very specifically. And the quote says, "At night, the soul leaves the body and travels to faraway places and brings back the knowledge." So this is the type of energy that the ninth house represents. The ninth house is the life experience beyond the everyday, to exhilaration and glory. And it is also considered the joy of the sun. And it's a place where the gods make appearances. So this is the energy that we are working with here in this Sagittarius season. Now, the ninth house is also the house of higher education. And here we have Mr. Ed from the 1960s sitcom. And Mr. Ed, he had a tendency to only speak to Wilbur. And, he was a kind of guide or, friend to Wilbur, but also it made Wilbur appear to be, kind of crazy out there, because the horse only spoke to Wilbur. So that's the kind of energy that you might, start to experience when you are, divining messages from the gods that visit you in the ninth house, and trying to communicate that out in the world. So that's just the vibe, but it doesn't mean anything negative. Is all good because that's what we're here to do. So the ninth house of higher education, this is about universities. This is about really getting to our truth, okay? So the truth is something that Sagittarians care deeply about in personal dealings, in their personal dealings and in their writings, in working, in teaching, in their all of their undertakings. It's about getting down to the absolute truth, and keeping of wisdom and passing that wisdom on. You find teachers and professors and counselors and gurus and theologians and lawyers and this type of individual, expressed through the ninth house. It is the house of religion and universities, doctrine and enforced doctrine. So we can be dealing with some dogmatic people, a lot of Sagittarians, from what I understand, can be prejudiced to a certain degree. They have very strong opinions and positions about what they believe is true. So that's, one side. But Sagittarius always make the mark because they're very pointed and direct in their motions and the things that they do. So now we're going to talk about some of the cards. I do read cards, and the cards really help me study the constellations as we go around the wheel. So here we're looking at Father Sims from the Hoodoo Tarot deck, and it is the 14th key. It follows along very similarly, exactly, basically as the structure. When I say follow along, the structure of the Hoodoo Tarot deck is the same structure as the Smith-Waite Tarot deck. And here, what we see is a card that is associated with Sagittarius. And we see here Father Sims, he looks like a priest, right? And he is, blending some sacred celestial waters here. And if you look back here, in the cards, you'll notice, and I'll show you some more, that there's always like a guardian angel or some winged being or, some higher source that's informing, this priest or this being here that's doing the work. And back here is just so subtle, you really can't see it. But I went ahead and put up here the Sphinx, because you can see it kind of shadowing there. And that Sphinx is the one who is informing him. And in the card and in the guide that goes along with this booklet is the scripture from Job 38:36. Who gives the ibis wisdom, or who gives the rooster understanding? You see, and that's what we're aiming for here with Sagittarius. It says, if you receive the Father Sims in a reading, review your position regarding your inquiry and consider the following. Are you being fair? Sometimes less is more. Extremists never think they're extreme. Perhaps add something else to the mix. This is about balancing things out and tempering things. Maybe he needs to add something else to the mix to make it just right, to make it the right solution. And also, consider other races, religions, and ethnic groups. You have to be conscious of that we don't become too one-sided and closed-minded in our quest for the truth. Now, these two cards are from, these are the Thoth. This on the right-hand side is the Thoth card from the Thoth deck. And on the left-hand side is a Thoth Inspire card from Mel Moline's Tabula Mundi deck, which I absolutely love. And this is, more esoterically inclined and focused. And these cards are based on this tree of life, which are also astrologically informed. And you can see here on the left-hand side, the art card, that arrow right there. I've taken this quote straight out of Mel's book. For in that arrow is the light of truth. And this centaur, she has her arrow pointing straight up, the tree of life. And I put here in the center the tree of life so that you can see that she is going to straight for Keter. Keter is the crown of the tree of light, of life. And Keter is the highest possible principle of creation. So that is very, very demonstrative of the Sagittarian spirit and the Sagittarian energy, that it is going straight for the head. And I took a few notes here about Keter to talk about this very pointed, fiery arrow that you see going through all of these different, what they call the sephirah of the tree of life, because Sagittarius is positioned right here on the center pillar. So it doesn't take any other routes to get up to where it wants to go. It's going straight up the center. And what it says here, what I've written here about Keter is that I will be who I will be. I am the eternal being. Okay. Keter represents the one divine spark, the original you, the divine you, the highest, most possible principle of existence is what it represents. And the angel of Keter is Metatron. And Metatron was at first a prophet, the prophet Enoch. And Enoch lived those very high principles, and he made it to Keter and was transformed into Metatron. So that is the aim and the highest expression of what our Sagittarian energy and centaurs are trying to do. The centaurs, by the way, are friends of Zeus. So it's really interesting to understand and see different ways of understanding the constellation of Sagittarius through the cards. Now here's the traditional card I used. A coloring book is kind of like a meditative form for me when I'm studying the cards and when I'm studying the constellations. And so I colored in, this is, the traditional image that we're used to seeing of key 14 from the tarot deck, the one of the angel, the archangel Michael, which is like God. And the esoteric name for Temperance is the daughter of the reconciler. And that reconciliation that she's going for, again, is about that wisdom and that truth up the middle center. Because if we go back, we can see at the very top, this is, the supernal triad up here, and that arrow is going straight right up here, which on the left-hand side is Binah, or understanding, and on the right-hand side is wisdom, or Hokmah. And even if we go back to Father Sims, the scripture that was put on his card in a completely different, tarot reading system, yet and still, there's a scripture here that references that this Sagittarian energy is shooting for wisdom and understanding, because the scripture put here, they asked is, who gives the ibis wisdom or the rooster understanding? And we all know the ibis is Thoth, right? He's in here, right? We know Thoth the one, the God of wisdom, of knowledge. He's the one who's given us the written word. He's the one who looks over all of these esoteric sciences and mysticisms and whatnot, astrology, the cards, Hermeticism, the mystic sciences, everything that we're studying. So I find that to be very interesting, that message stays consistent, and that is how the planets talk. That truth is consistent across the board. So again, for in that arrow is the light of truth. All right. And also another point I want to make out here about this particular card is that the messenger, what he has across his chest, these 4 letters here are the holy letters of the name of God that we cannot say because unless we die. So Yod Hey Vod Hey. So this is a messenger. He's coming down with that super consciousness. You see the light, shining over his head, and you also see Keter here in the background. This here, that's the divine angel that we're talking about with the message. And then back here is Keter. Here's the pillar. That's the road that leads straight there to the highest possible principle. And here you see the angel mixing the celestial waters in an alchemical fashion from the elements of fire and water. And that's how we got that rainbow. And that's the promise. And that's a bridge between heaven and earth from God. So you read all that into these cards and you start to understand and see what the stars are saying and the energy and the message that they want to bring down to us. And I'm leaned in more on this side of Sagittarius, but we'll see, more how the earthly side is working. But ultimately, it's about getting to that truth and bringing that prophetic message down so that we understand and so that we reach our highest purpose here in living. So we'll go on, and I read playing cards, and we don't have all of the imagery and the paint and the artwork that is depicted through the tarot, but we have these basic symbols where things all started. We just started with some symbols, and the card in the playing cards that represent Sagittarius energy is the 5 of clubs. And we start with the 5. 5 is the number of man, it's the number of senses that we have, and it's the number of exploration. And Sagittarius is about taking long journeys and exploring the mind as well as the physical world in which it lives. And so does the 5, and the 5 are the senses that allow us to have that experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, right? The club suit itself, it represents knowledge, learning, education in the mind. It is also of the element of fire, like the wands and the sticks and the batons in the tarot decks. And it's of the cardinal direction of the south. And that is usually, it is related with fire. Okay, now for the 5 of clubs, however, the season it is associated with is summer. In a reading, this is the change agent. This is the one who's coming up with the out-of-the-box ideas. This 5, invokes a lot of curiosity and restlessness of the mind. Romantically, this is not a card that's suited well for marriage. It is, the card of the explorer. So just as much as it likes to explore its mind and its environment, enjoys exploring its options romantically as well. Anything that's associated with commitment, is avoided by those with this 5 of clubs energy. It's adventurous, it's intuitive, it's the explorer, it's witty, it's innovative, it's courageous. So you see why I've chosen the 5 of clubs as the card to represent Sagittarius as I'm doing these studies. But definitely when a person turns up this card, for sure, they are expressing some kind of, mental exploration of sorts. Okay, now let's talk about Sagittarius in the physical body. Now, I'm going through all of these aspects of Sagittarius because we're in the meditative mode even now as I'm speaking, because we're starting to see, like, where do these aspects, come alive in our own lives. And now is the opportunity for us to sort of draw in on that energy if there's places where we need healing in that area, or places that we want to further develop, or areas that we want to express more of. Now that the stars are aligned the way that they are, we can have access to that energy even more. So Sagittarius in the body, Sagittarius rules the legs, glutes, thighs, and the nerves of down here in the lower part of your back and area. So in body health of medical astrology, we can see these correspondences of as above, so below. And I used to run track. So I put one of my favorite track stars on here, obviously, that's FloJo. And indeed, she looks like that quarter horse racing right there. And then we have Richardson up here. Her hair is on fire. She looks Sagittarian, her body, her speed, her red fiery hair. She is that arrow shooting straight for the top, representing the United States in the Olympics. We had some issues, but she's still representative. So you can just get that imagery here of Sagittarius and being the ruler of the glutes and the thighs. So I put some notes here. It's also interesting to note that the movements that are best for people who are Sagittarius are of the sagittal plane, the longitudinal plane. So running, walking, cycling, squatting. These are all movements that are good for Sagittarians, people who have strong Sagittarius placements. So those would be people who are born Sagittarius. They have the sun sign Sagittarius, or you are a Sagittarius rising, or you have a lot of planets where Sagittarius is located on your birth chart. You have a lot of planets in the 9th house. you have a prominent Jupiter. These are areas where you will understand more how this energy is playing out in your life. Now, Sagittarius, they say, love to run, or at least that running is a great way for a Sagittarian person to really release that balanced energy that they have. And for self-care, we have to make sure that Sagittarius stay lit, but that they don't burn out. So, and I have some Sagittarius that are very close and near to me. And you'll see them in this slideshow. My daughter is a Sagittarius sun, and my son is a Sagittarius rising. And I have friends that are Sagittarius risings and Sagittarius suns. And so I have at least, a stead or so of centaurs in my life. But Sagittarius regarding health and fitness, booty and brains, okay? That's the area that they work with. So in terms of health and the foods that are good for the Sagittarian body type, because it is ruled by Jupiter, so Jupiterian nutrients are good. That would be foods that are dense in fats and proteins, and fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin A that you're going to find in your orange vegetables like squash and big pumpkins, things that are big. Jupiter likes bounty. B6 to get that energy, that mental energy going, and turned up and tuned up where it needs to be. Vitamin D from being outside in the sun. Vitamin E, that's a fat soluble. Vitamin K, that's from eating your greens, your leafy dark greens. So you see here, you need to support your nervous system with those seeds and avocados, coconut, eggs, all of that's good. Now, Jupiter rules over things like Sunday supper, Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas, all of those type of things. So those bring joy into a Sagittarius's life. This diet is not about restrictions, because that is a big no-no for anybody who likes to be boundless. So it's about moderation and being able to keep it tempered the way that it needs to be, but so that you are enjoying things in your life fully, but also fortifying the parts of your body that need certain support in areas of your life. So being the adventurous type of person, Sagittarius enjoys eating outside. Food is an adventure for them. Barbecues, picnics, going to farmers markets. I know one of my dear friends in Seattle, she's a Sagittarius, and every Sunday on the day that she was born, she loves to go to the farmers market and try new and exciting different things that she's never had before. And that's one of the things that I enjoy about her. Sagittarius will take you out in the world and have you to explore different things in every aspect, even if it's about making Sunday supper on a Sunday and first shopping at the farmer's market. So that is something that, I've learned here in studying about Sagittarius and then seeing that play out. But in terms of how Sagittarius operate in the kitchen, innovative. They can adapt. They are quick on their toes. They can use whatever is available and create some pretty fabulous things. Spices that are associated with these midwinter folks, early winter, should I say, the midwinter: black pepper, cinnamon, clove, ginger. Those are all fortifying for the actual being of Sagittarius. So I'm not just talking about nutrition at random. I'm talking about nutrition and exercise programs or styles that fortify people who have strong Sagittarius placement. So because they like variety, you can find Sagittarius people wanting to do a variety of different things. Maybe they want to do a marathon or participate in group fitness or change up the program that they use, have different workouts for each day as opposed to doing the same thing all of the time. So it is important. There is a commitment to the lower body, okay? They are the masters of the lower body. And I can say this again with confidence because the Sagittarius rising friend that I have is a fitness coach, and he is the master of the booty. He is the booty man. So he'll get your rear end and your hind parts looking really, really beautiful, strong and fortified. So it worked for me. So here's my Sagittarius daughter, and this was her solar return. And sure enough, true to form, her cake that she loves is a spicy gingerbread cake, which includes all of those spices that I just went over. Sagittarius. So I make these enchanted cakes for the kids each year of their favorite cake, and people that are close and dear to me. I make a cake that's very relative and personal to them. And in this case, this is a zodiacal cake for my beautiful daughter here. So let's go on. Now, aromatherapy for the archer. I've been leaning in talking about, the various herbs that fortify the body, but being runners or being people who are always on the go, using their limbs and their legs are, an area that we take care of. So black pepper. I use that black pepper oil in my old man muscle salve. And it is a tonic. It's an analgesic. It's great for pain relief, and it is the selected signature oil for Sagittarius this month. And we can blend that up. This is from one of my favorite distributors, Floricopia, and this is the black pepper. And it is just like the personality. It's pointed. It's direct. It gets straight to the point. It gets straight to the pain. So that's why I like it. And then you blend that. Now pepper is peppery, all right? So rosemary is another good oil for Sagittarius for your mind. Rosemary, it promotes a positive frame of mind, okay? It improves your concentration, your memory, and performance on cognitive tasks. So it's good for studying. It's good for studying these words. So now, interestingly enough, these do actually really smell well together. It's a rosemary, so a little herbaceous, and then black pepper, which is spicy and pointed, and then a little bit of rosewood to bring it all together. I know those don't sound like they would blend, but they really do make a nice blend. And I use that to anoint our candle while we're studying, or we use these oils to anoint ourselves when we go into meditation, when we're working with Sagittarius things, or we use these oils and put them in a base oil and rub them on our tired, weary legs and feet and lower back to help revitalize ourselves. We got to keep that Sagittarius going, keep that Mustang power horse going. So it says that one of the most important skill is for Sagittarius is to learn how to aim, direct, and take responsibility for its expansive nature. And this is a good way to take responsibility for that expansive nature. These are just some herbs. I became friends with Anima Mundi herbs. It's a cute, lovely herb shop here in Brooklyn, and there she has her own deck of cards that goes with the herbs that are also astrologically and zodiacally assigned. And I'm really enjoying learning about the herbs and psychology, really, and the zodiac, and working with it all together and creating beautiful tea blends to again enhance and further draw down the energy of these powerful stars to work in our life. Now, the animal spirit for Sagittarius is the wild horse. I mean, that's clear. We're talking about a centaur, part human, part beast. And boy, oh boy, do we love to wear our glory out on a horse when we are expressing our feminineness, our feminine energy, our feminine power. And there's a little story here that goes along with this imagery and the power that it brings to women. Sagittarius woman, she really is a powerhouse. Like, you got to think about the fact that she is a child of the supreme great, and she is the feminine expression of the supreme great. So we're going to use Zeus, and we're going to use Hera, his wife. So it would be Hera that is the archetypal energy that is expressed through, the Sagittarius woman. She is the supreme queen goddess. And that particular goddess is really like a patron over over marriage and the patron over, feminine, strength and having a strong feminine spirit and disposition, because Zeus, her husband, he's the god of gods. So he had a lot of mistresses and concubines, and Hera wasn't always so pleased with that. So she would use her power, her position to, inflict whatever punishment that she was going to. But primarily, she used her dazzling radiance to do that. So you're going to find in a lot of Sagittarian women that they have a strong disposition of being high on her horse. Because she's a strong force to reckon. It is her birthright to have that position. And so all of these images that you see here, we have Meg Thee Stallion, we have Beyonce the Queen, and we have who they're inspired by, this Godiva. Godiva, Lady Godiva literally, translates into, the goddess diva. This is her. She is inspired this archetype that you see played out, Boderic, okay? And in particular, going back to our crown and shooting straight for the highest possible principle, we can see here we have Beyonce with the crown mudra right above her head. She is channeling and opening her crown chakra with this mudra, and upon her dazzling radiant horse, she is channeling, okay, that divine, supreme, highest principle into her life. And that is the archetypal energy and expression of the Sagittarius woman. So her spirit animal is the wild horse. And we all have Sagittarius somewhere on our chart, and we can channel in and reach for and aim high to bring in that highest principle into our own lives as well. So isn't it interesting? So this is the thoroughbred, okay? Sagittarius woman, she's a free spirit. She's physically strong. She's adventurous. She's untamable. Try to tame this woman and you will be met with some fierce bucks. Do you want them hooves kicked up in your chin? Do not try to tame her. A song that I like to work with, or that I love, that I give to my daughter, is Wild Wild Horses by the Rolling Stones. Wild, wild horses. You will not be able to drag this woman. Not even wild, wild horses can drag this woman. All right. Speaking of this woman, this is Sagittarius. She, her, the maven. Okay. She keeps her eyes on the prize, and sensing the right opportunity, lets her archerous arrows fly. So this Sagittarius has some beautiful blessings from Jupiter coming through to her life as she found herself on the red carpet here in New York City. And there she is, really expressing, that maven that the centaur woman is. I found some of my favorite quotes from my favorite astrology books, but the principles here is that more is more. Again, expansion, exaltation, optimism, having quantitative experiences, awe and adoration, brains, beauty, body, all of the above, to amass what she needs in order to get a divine message out to the world from God, basically, from the above, from her higher self, to express the purpose that she is here to express. So I like this one over here in the upper left-hand corner. A thoroughbred, built to outstrip all others and take her rightful place in the winner circle, basking in glory and adoration. That is a quote for Sagittarius woman. Sagittarius man. All right, Sagittarius man, I put my son up here. He is Sagittarius rising, and of Sagittarius rising, we call him the Maverick, okay? Your spirit is irrepressible. Now, Sagittarius man can come across a little bit differently because they're that masculine energy being expressed. This is that untamed energy, that renegade charm, okay? That free-willing extremist. They know that they have the right to be right. They are the sons of the kings of the King of Kings, basically, the God of gods. And these guys, they have their big lesson in discernment, in knowing when enough is enough. Too much of a good thing is not enough, but sometimes less is more. So knowing when enough is a lesson that we need to learn with that big expansive energy of Sagittarius, especially in the young men. But a good thing to point out about the male Sagittarius, one, okay, male Sagittarius, Sagittarius rules the testicles. Okay, so you'll find that these guys are, you know, a man's man. They are accepted among men. They feel comforted and validated and glorified, you know, amongst other men. And as you can see here, my son has joined the Navy. He is a baby Navy, but that is him. Now, what are some of the takeaways that we have here for Sagittarius? These takeaways. Wildness is untameable. Okay, wildness is untamable. They will do what they want to do. Do not try to tame or be tamed. If you're allowing your Sagittarius spirit to be free, forget it. Let yourself be free for a while and explore this big, beautiful world. They buck up against any system that, you know, gives an illusion of trying to take away their freedom. They need it. There needs to be variety for these people. When we think about Sagittarius, we think about being on our high horse, horseback riding, archery, a runner's high, race horses, university professors. We think about passing on what we've learned. We think about being teachers and professors, philosophers and theologians. We think about assisting ourselves from exhaustion or from burnout, because this energy will have us go for the highest that we can possibly attain. Burnout is a real thing. So this is when we think about our self-care and how we keep ourselves vitalized through good health and exercise and things that fortify the Sagittarian spirit. Jet lag is a frequent hazard, you know, for these globetrotters. So again, we can be revived with our essential oils. We can take baths in them and use the ones that specifically work on fortifying the Sagittarius spirit. We have to be careful not to overshoot our mark and understand, you know, more is more. Too much of a good thing is never enough, but yet sometimes less is more. So here we say that the one that you've been looking for all of this time is your true self. All of this exploring is all about getting back to your true self, to the one, to the divine source, to Keter. That's what it's about. So some correspondences when we're working with going into meditation or doing any kind of ritual ceremony work around, you know, the energy that we just talked about. I talked about the essential oils, you have them, and then we have a beautiful holy smoke that we want to make an offering up to. I'm turning back here, looking around. I have the three kings here. I've been burnt. This is not the three kings, but I have the three kings. I've been burnt up. This is actually a bay leaf, which is another good one. But you want to pull that out. And when I talk about correspondences, we're talking about, again, aligning with the energy, the signature of the energy. And these are the things that resonate with the signature that we're working on. And that is, you know, the higher mind and higher consciousness and realizing our true self and connecting with the divine one. I have a stone here. This is the prophecy stone. This is good for grounding. It's good for, you know, bringing visions during meditation. We use that for the meditation that we're going to go into. Maybe you can hold it or just have it near you in your environment just to charge it and to charge your chakras. So these are some of the things you can pull out, you know, a horseshoe or flowers like a poinsettia for the season, just to, you know, further engage the energy. That's what correspondences are all about. Okay. And also I like to highly recommend that before you do any kind of spiritual work or any kind of deep meditation or ceremony that you do, prepare yourself, cleanse yourself, your energy for the meditation with a bath or a shower, primarily using a black salt scrub or charcoal or just sea salt to really cleanse your aura, to take care of what we call miasma, right? Any negative energy or forces that you picked up along the environment that you've been in before you go into any sacred space. So it's always good to prepare, and you can come back and pause and see, what this recipe is, but it's very simple. Basically, it's activated charcoal powder, sea salt, an oil of your choice, and we can put some other botanicals and beautiful oils and things in it to make it more specific for the work that you are doing. But very basically, those three things will get you get your aura and get you ready for ritual. Okay. Now, like I said, this was going to be a new moon meditation. So we'll just talk about this for just briefly, but basically the new moon is the dark side of the moon. It is the star seeding time. That's when you plant your seeds for what it is that you want to manifest later. And usually we work with the energy of the moon, as it were, the Sagittarius new moon. But it's a time of powerful transmission of energy when the sun and the moon come together and we plant a seed. It's a time basically of consummation, right? When you plant that seed during that time. But we'll skip past that for now. And we'll just talk about, before we go into the tree of life meditation, or excuse me, the tree of knowledge meditation, just to wrap up the Sagittarius and bring it all back together. So to embody the essence of Sagittarius, we have to ask ourselves, what is my truth? That is the ultimate thing that Sagittarius is seeking and going out in the world to explore, to discover, is the truth. The birth placement, what we want to know is, first of all, where is Sagittarius on your birth chart? What aspects of Sagittarius are you needing to embody? What planets occupy the placement of where Sagittarius is? What aspects are being made to those planets? Where is Jupiter on your chart? And what planets are in the ninth house on your chart? Now, you probably know these things, but just want you to think about them. And if you don't, you can call me and we can set up a reading, or you can go out and get some free astrology reports and find these things and then come back and listen to this or study these placements on your chart and see, what your higher self reveals to you about it. But there's one thing to take into meditation with you while you think about symbols, when you look at them and what they mean. So the actual glyph of the Sagittarius, what it depicts is an arrow that represents inspiration, and the cross of the arrow is the cross of matter. So it's about inspiring. Okay, it's the arrow of inspiration from the material world cross, and it's the sigil of the sigils, who are the wizards of the great ones. So they bring about inspiration and realizing what it is that they are aspiring for. So I am now going to lead us into a meditation. It's about going to our tree of knowledge. And I'm going to turn my screen off. I think I can turn myself off. Let's see here. How do I make it so that I'm not on the screen? And I'm just going to lead us through a guided meditation so that we can take everything in that we just went over about Sagittarius, the aspects that we want to embody, and the essence of the tree of knowledge, where we have access to any and everything that we ever wanted to know. So let's get ready for our meditation. All right. We're going to take a few deep breaths. Just welcome in the I am presence. See yourself standing in a beautiful field of gold or green. Look down at your feet and notice you are barefoot. It feels good to connect to Mother Earth, to Gaia, and your feet start to tingle. You close your eyes and feel the warm sun shining through the blessed constellation of Sagittarius on your face. There is a gentle breeze blowing, and you stretch your arms out either side of you and feel the breeze sweep over your body. The breeze picks up a little, and as it does, you know that it is cleansing you of any worries or burdens as the season is beginning to shift from autumn into winter. It is clearing away any heaviness, any sickness, or any sadness you have been holding on to. Allow yourself a few moments now to let the breeze fully cleanse you, mind, body, soul, emotions, and aura. You are now feeling clean and refreshed, cleansed and cleared. Take a deep cleansing breath, and in your eyes, mind, see yourself open your eyes. Before you, a path starts to form. Take in the details of the path. What is it made from? Is it narrow or wide? Is it winding or straight? The path is leading into a forest, and as you start walking on the path towards the forest, in a short while, you arrive at the forest and you continue walking into the forest. The forest feels alluring and magical, and you notice that all of your senses seem to sharpen as you walk into the forest. Your eyesight becomes crystal clear and sharp. You become highly attuned to sound, and your feeling and knowing is more intense than ever before. You take a moment to look around you and fully appreciate your surroundings with your heightened senses. You feel wonderful and uplifted as you continue to walk through the forest. Up ahead, you notice the forest starts to thin as it opens into a clearing. As you approach the clearing, you notice it is lighter and brighter than the forest and has a calm and peaceful energy. You notice a very large tree, and you are magnetically drawn to walk towards the tree. As you get closer, you sense and feel that this tree is ancient and wise. It has very large roots all around that are growing deep into the earth, and the trunk is wide and majestic looking. At the front of the trunk is a beautiful big door with a very old lock on it. You arrive at the tree and you stand there in awe, noticing the size, shape, branches, leaves, and textures of this magnificent tree. You realize that this tree is very familiar and you have been here many times before. This tree is your tree of knowledge, and inside it contains all the answers to all the questions you have ever wanted to know. As you stand there looking at the tree, you become aware of the key you are holding in your hand, and you realize you have been holding it all along. You put the key into the lock and you easily open the door and step inside. Inside is a small room that has an energy about it that feels like home, and you feel very safe and very relaxed here. The room has nothing in it but a small glowing light that is radiating from above. This light will be a different color each time you come here, but it is always perfect for you at the time. Notice the color of the light today and spend a moment soaking in the healing benefits of this light. See, feel, or just know that this light is working its magic on you, and allow yourself to fully accept the healing color your intuitive self has chosen for you today. This room is also where you ask your higher self to now lead the way. Your higher self is that part of you that is wise, eternal, and pure. It is the divine and sacred aspect of you. Your higher self always wants what is best for you, and she is you, the all-knowing you without any earthly or ego attachments. Connect with that energy of her now and start to feel the empowerment from aligning with your true and authentic self. Take a deep breath in and slowly exhale as you feel the connection deepen. Continue to breathe slowly and naturally, breathing in and breathing out. Walk towards the back of the room now and notice a staircase leading either up or down, whatever your higher self shows you is right. There are 7 steps that lead to another room, and you take your first step and start to climb either up or down. As you slowly take each step, your excitement starts to grow as you draw closer to the room and start to remember being here before. You have now reached the room and you see that it has no door, for it is always open to you. You walk straight in. The room is round and well lit, and from the floor to the ceiling, it is filled with books. In the center of the room is an old wooden table and a big, comfortable chair. You feel a sense of peace in this room, and you know you have been here many times before. The books are on your own personal books of wisdom, and you have access to them now. You sit at the table and make yourself comfortable in the chair. Close your eyes and think of a question you need an answer for, or a solution to a problem you may have, or you may need confirmation about something. You may just simply want to ask, what do I need to know right now? Ask your higher self to select a book for you now. When you open your eyes, there is a book in front of you. Notice the color of the book. Is there a title? What color is your book? What condition is the book in? Open the book and read the message that is in the book for you. You may not see words. You might get a sense or a feeling of what the message is for you, or you might have a knowing of what the message is, or you may hear a message. Pay attention to anything at all that is happening right now, big or small, as messages are often very subtle. You may even have a pet or a loved one in spirit that connects with you now. Sit with this for a few moments, and when you feel ready, ask your higher self to take the book and place it back on the shelf for you. Spend a moment reflecting on your experience with your book. When you are ready, ask your higher self to lead you back up or down the staircase. As you walk slowly up or down each step, let the memory of your message fully assimilate into your being. When you reach the top or the bottom of the staircase and are back in the small room, thank your higher self for assisting you today. Bask in the color of the soft light in the room one more time. And when you're ready, step out of the door and close it behind you. Give thanks to your tree of knowledge and know that you are always welcome here, that you always have the key with you, and you can visit here again anytime you want to. Start walking from the clearing towards the forest. Walk back along the path and through the forest. You are feeling light and refreshed, and you reflect again upon your message as you make your way to the edge of the forest. You step out of the forest and follow your path back towards the field. You arrive at the field and once again feel the warmth of the sun and the earth beneath your feet. You take a warm, deep breath and start to bring your awareness back into the room, back into the chair where you are sitting. You notice the sounds around you, and you wiggle your fingers and toes. And when you are ready, open your eyes. Allow yourself the time that you need to fully return to the physical environment. Thank you, Creator, Creatrix. Thank you to all of my teachers and guides in this life and beyond, to my ancestors, especially the old witch, to my family, to my friends, and to my clients who support the life that I love. Thank you. Thank you. Now, if you have your journal or a notebook, it's a great time to, great idea to write down all you can remember from this meditative experience today. As like dreams, they are easily forgotten. And it's also a good time if you have cards to pull the card and put the question out there again. What is my truth? What is my truth? Where do I go from here? What do I want to build in the coming weeks? What have I learned? Thank you for joining me on the Sagittarius meditation. Peace and love.